Yo, I still find this one heck of an awkward setup. Just camera right in front, kitchen over there, and I would love to just have a camera right next to my drawing spot, but my setup is the camera on top of the drawing spot. How are you all doing? It's been a while. Like, it's been up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, making some new distinctions, and you know what? I'm at this point where it's like, I might as well talk to you guys about this thing. It might interest you. I've got some good response from Facebook, from Instagram. Not that much on Twitter, because there's a lot of people adding me on Twitter, and I'm adding them back, and you know, the whole Twitter game, impartial. But I want to get back with some update, what's going on in total. Now, again, you guys have known for the last few months, it's been like, okay, let us learn, let us understand the psychology aspect, and trying to understand what makes, you know, how to push myself to the next level. And there's been multiple lessons, man. I've been into practical psychology, I've been into motivational psychology. I even started looking at the spiritual side of things quite recently, and you would have never expected this. I would have never expected this. I would have never expected making the connection between the two and being like, oh, this is how this makes sense. Okay. So, gonna hit you guys up with something that's been like critical and crucial in the last few months slash years. Have you guys heard about this whole thing about the law of attraction? At first I didn't believe it, but then I studied it from a psychological side, and oh boy, okay, yeah, ouch, take this shit for real. What I mean is, when it comes to the amount of thoughts, and this is why I really loved learning psychology, when it comes to your internal thought, what you think about is how you feel, which then pushes you to action. If you are continuously bombarded with crap from the news, from people that are pessimistic or depressive, and you know, all that, then of course these kind of thoughts, they just get to you. And eventually, once you filter and you really monitor that mental dialogue, you spot them. And you're like, wait a minute, why am I thinking about that? What is this going on? And hell, of course, don't put the blame on the environment and the people that you've technically, you know, the people around with that kind of mentality, because at the same time, you have to own up. You have to say, okay, my fault, I've been in this environment. My fault, I didn't watch that mental dialogue. My fault, I didn't get enough information to understand how this affects me. Now I can take the switch and say, alright, all of this is my fault. It's not anyone else's fault. I can take care of this shit. And this is what's been going on for the last few months. It's been like, okay, well, maybe I can try this. I'm not sure this is going to work. Maybe I'm going to try this. I'm not sure this is going to work. And then continuously thinking from a place of lack and scarcity, you know, not enough budget to start the comic, not enough budget to start this or to get this way. Constantly hunting down for contracts, you know, continuously hunting you see, it doesn't work this way. It really just puts you in the state of like, oh God, no, oh fuck, oh no. And then you add the news on top of it and you're like, oh God, no. Oh, look at what this person's doing. Oh, look at... And then you add social media to it, bringing this vortex of shit, literally, into your brain. And you may not think about these things, or this may not affect you. Oh, it does. It does. But you own up, you know, you take responsibility. You're like, okay, I wasted time looking at these news channel. I wasted time getting into these social media feuds or whatever, you know. I wasted time getting, you know, I didn't put that mental filter when it came to scarcity and lack or complaining, you know, all that. Alright, owned up. Let's go! Let's bring this back. And then you start thinking about, how do I turn this around? How do I push this to a different direction? What if I could do that? What if I did do that? What if I did go on with this plan? What if I tackled on this plan and did it as fast as I could to get the result, to get things going, and to see, okay, it's not going to be perfect. It doesn't need to be perfect. There is perfection and imperfection. So that whole mindset of just it has to be for, that's gone. Gone. And you're like, all right, I got results. I can do it. I can do it with this speed. This is the result I get. What if I take more time? What kind of result would I get? And then you continuously get that progress, that momentum going into this. Okay, I can do this. I can actually do this. The result is, it's decent to good. Let's make it great. You know, you get into that great momentum. And then you start thinking, okay, how do I keep this momentum at all time? And this is where you find your own little strategies, you know. You find ways to simply, I don't know, give yourself this hype every morning. Give yourself this internal speech, or hell, you can even write it out and going, okay, I've done this before, I can get to this point, I've seen this, I can continuously improve, I can continuously kick some asses, let's go. And you find ways to basically not stay in that negative environment, in that negative mindset, and this continuously thinking that you're not enough, you don't have enough, you won't be able to pull it off, or even worse, comparing yourself to others. I mean, that was a big mistake that I've done multiple times, continuously, you know, especially when it comes to, let's say, going on DeviantArt and Tumblr. And it's like, you know what? I'm not in competition with other people. I just want to do my funny stories and have some fun with this. Share it with other people. Why do I need to care about that? And this is where, like, understanding, and again, something that was kind of interesting and impressive with the whole law of attraction and psychology, understanding the duality and the two facets of, let's say, various terms of initiatives, of ways of thinking. Looking for reference is one thing, but you don't want them to be a crutch. You don't want them to influence you up to a point where your brain's going to go, I'm not up to that level. No, 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 no. You get what you like out of your reference. You kind of go, okay, what do I like about this kind of art? What do I like about this artist? But then you continuously work on improving your own thing. You continuously stay in that flow state. That's another great book. Flow. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. Go get it. Or Rise of the Superman. Go get that. Flow state is going to bring you to another level. Just don't be a junkie. But you get into that flow. You constantly push your edge with your own work. And you start seeing how you can improve it. You even have those moments. And that's the freakiest part that's been happening like 2 weeks ago. Up to 3 weeks. You start seeing in your mind how you can draw and improve on your own strokes, on your own process. You know, you spend so much time working on your stuff that you can start getting into that mindset. You know, you start seeing it. You're like, okay, how do I improve my own thing? As you go in your mind, and then you put that on paper, and then you do this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. There is a terrific power in your mind, and once you tap into it by doing the research, studying, loving to studying this shit, then you're able to tap into it, and then you got to set yourself some reminders to get to that point. You know, make it a bit of a discipline, which is something that I'm working through it, man. I'm trying to find ways to get this thing done. One of the craziest things I tried to think about was like, what if I could live off setting up notification for these various things? So notification for exercise sessions, notification for, let's say, meditation session. Meditation, definitely fucking worth it. Notification for social media time, you know, doing the post, updating people, having some chats on social media, setting up time for, let's say, 1 hour drawing instructions. What if, you know, and then starting to see, okay, well, how did they go? I would start with this, do this, notification, do this. Would this be too annoying? Would I like to do that? Is it a good pace? Because at the same time, as many tutorials as I've got, as many techniques as I've gotten, there's also the balance of going, what works for me? And something that I've noticed is when it comes to chunking days, I'm not really down with that. It's I'm more of a momentum person, so if I set up a whole day to do pages, extra stage, do some pages, you know, work on some pages. I don't know if you guys can see it clearly. Work on some pages, okay? The momentum I gather with penciling goes and raises throughout the day. So that, let's say I get a bit of a warm up in the morning. At the end of the day, I'm just cranking, 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 cranking. All right, and the same goes with digital coloring. It's keeping that momentum going throughout the entire day, and I seem to enjoy that state more than basically going project A this time, project B this time, project C this time. So, okay, and a lot of it kind of goes, again, the whole figuring your flow, figuring how you work. Kind of figured it out when it came to studying versus taking a step back and thinking about it. So, learned a lot about psychology. I was eating up videos every day while trying to work. Bad way to do it because I couldn't access the flow state. But still, that was then. Alright, cranking up videos, learning, but haven't taken those time to make those distinctions. So eventually comes the weekend, wait a second, I'm gonna, lay to bed a tad bit later, and then oh, wait, okay, picked that up last week. What am I thinking about? Why am I thinking about like that? Why am I not thinking about, let's say, why am I not pushing in this direction instead of that one? What does that mean? And then the distinction pile just dumped like a Tetris block. And it was great. So now I kind of see, all right, sessions to learn, not making an information dump, which is, you guys remember what I told you about this old parenting and old schooling ways, right? That was the information dump. And that's not where I want to be at. That's not what works with me. So I'm changing, slowly changing and accepting the fact that it takes time. You can't be super whoever, super you in a single day, in a single week, or in a single year. This is like learning what people have been learning for the let's say 8, 10, 20, 17 years. All right? They've, learning from people who built themselves in that amount of time. And then trying to say, oh, I'm going to do this in 5 months, 3 months. Woo! High hopes. But at the same time, duality of it, high hopes, but don't be disappointed if it doesn't happen, because there's a logic assessment that, okay, it is going to take time, but at the same time, I want to be able to master it faster. I want to be able to make those distinctions faster. It's kind of like that kid who, after Tony Hawk, back in the days, did a 720. And everyone's like, woo! Yeah, 720 is the first one! And then out of nowhere, a 16-year-old kid, maybe like 2 or 3 years after, does the 1080. And everyone's like, oh! Oh! Or the 4-minute mile, back in, what was it, post-World War II, 4-minute mile. Nobody thought it could be real. One person does it. And then a couple months and years later, high school kids do it. So it's seeing the duality and understanding the duality of things, understanding that, yes, it's a great objective, trying to pull it off in 5 months, 1 year, and such. Great objective. But at the same time, understanding that it is going to take time. It may not be done snappy in a way, but through trial and error and loving the process, trial, error, you get to that point, and not being disappointed. Not even seeing what the hell disappointed is, because in the end, and I get that a lot from, certain people that I come in contact to on YouTube, on Facebook. They don't want to get disappointed, and you kind of have to shift it. It's the toughest part, because you'll even encounter that with people that do not want you to be disappointed. And something you'll pick up if you look up Growth Mindset by Carol Dweck, amazing book. This whole disappointed thing, that is, in a lack of better term, wuss talk. It's wuss talk because you don't see it as a challenge. You already take it as a hit to yourself, to your pride, to your identity. That's why you get disappointed. Instead of seeing it as okay, how do I make it work? How do I make it viable? How do I get to that objective that I set? Are there different ways? As soon as you switch the thought from I'm getting disappointed to how do I make it work? What are different ways that I can make it work? What are resources? Can I look up online? Like as soon as you make that switch, boom, that's gone. Completely gone. You may have other barriers, but you won't ever land upon this whole disappointment theory, this disappointment excuse. That's going to be gone. You may have other things to work on, you know? And I'm not saying it's going to be quick, easy, and simple, but you're not going to rely or fall back on this whole I don't want to be disappointed. And then you'll actively toss away people that think like that or try to talk to you in that way. You won't get them involved in your projects or in what you do. Because they bring, again, this goes back to the whole environment and attracting this kind of stuff. You don't want to get that in your head. If you really want to do something, you find out how you do it. You keep thinking about it this way. You keep steaming and boiling in it that way. And sometimes you take a break, you know, because you never know. Some idea might just pop in and go, whoa! But that's the thing. So I'm loving these new distinctions. I'm loving this, and I'm trying to find ways to just get that high energy directly in the morning, making it last all day, like that Tony Robbins seminar that's been in Montreal like a couple of months ago. It's been great, and it's trying to keep that energy, but also trying to expand my social circle, you know, trying to get into these kind of environments, staying away from the complaining, from the arguing and all that, you know, because some people are in that, and that's okay for them. You know, and again, this is where the whole duality comes in. It's okay for them, understanding and appreciating them, that kind of person, as they are, but not taking it upon yourself to get to that, to eat that. You know, it's like having a buffet of ideas. Do you really want to have the past radishes, you know, that are just with flies? Do you really want to get that in your mind? No. Even if it comes from a close friend, you don't want that dish of shit radish. But at the same time, you're not going to toss them away because they are still in that train of thought. You may want to help, but at the same time, you want to accept them as they are. Again, all of it, you own up. It's your choice. It's your decision. It's your move. Your move, creep. Something like that. So, I'm going to wrap this up because I don't even know how much time it is. And you know I'm going to be running over to that point and pressing that stop button. But, updates. Okay. Extra stage pages are coming up. You can go on the ROM HQ Instagram to check out the process. Right now, I've done my, I think, 17 or 16 page sketching through the newsprint journal. Wow, Jewprint. Wow, really? Newsprint journal, Jewsprint. You see how it works? Wow, newsprint journal fusion. Okay, so on this newsprint paper, it's an attempt. I like how it kind of comes up to now. I'm already thinking about different ways to make it work. Might go back to the animation paper, doing some order with this and seeing how this is going to work for the, let's say, the page post 17 or 18 or 16. We'll see how it works. Cool little trick. Making a mock-up cover on someone else's book just to keep that on the side and going, this is what I want to pull off. This is what I want to pull off. Did I even show it properly? I'm not even sure. I wasn't even looking at the camera. It's too light. Okay, well, I'll take pictures and I'll put them on Instagram, okay? So, getting those psych up moments. I mean, hell, I'll take a picture of the entire room because I've added some animation notes, but I've taken away some of the Disney references that I had. Again, when it comes to just keeping myself invested and encrusted in that project in Extra Stage. Messing around with the website on Wix.com, I am bootlegging the shit out of it because they are not taking transparent PNGs, so I have to make things work with images and such. We'll see how that goes, but I am bootlegging it. I want it! Alright, so site's going to be updated. I'll leave a I'll make a video for it. Patreon is getting rebooted in a sense, or it's getting changed, mostly to reflect focusing on Extra Stage and everything about it. So right now, it's going to be a new video about that. So it's getting rebooted. Changes are in the progress or in the work. See you guys on Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook page. Loving the responses. Been at a convention recently. Did some portraits. That's been about it. So I want to know, guys, what's up with you? Actually, yeah, screw it. What's up with you? Write in the comments. Let's talk. I got time. I know how to split my social media talk with you. And going on Tumblr or whatever, I barely go there anymore. So tell me, what are you guys up to? What are some of the struggles you guys are dealing with? Hell, if you want to ask a question about psychology or just motivation or whatever, even when it comes to drawing, put in the description, man. Put in the comments, man. Let's talk. All right. It's been a while, and again, I'm gonna own up for it because it's always been this up and down, up and down, up and down. And now, you know what? I want to stay on that high ground. Okay. When it comes to video gaming, oh, that's gonna take a while. I really want to get that comic done. So that's gonna be something that's gonna fuel me. It's gonna be like, all right. Let's draw this comic, get to games after. Draw this comic, get to games after. You know, and the same goes with animation. Draw this comic, get the animations after. Draw this comic, get animation after. And get in my head just to go, ooh, get this energy going, you know, just thinking about it. And all the projects that are piling up, all the inside jokes piling up, it just gets me going. So maybe this is what I'm going to have to do in the morning, you know, just remember and throw myself on this desk. All right. Thank you guys for your patience. I will see you later.